Alright, here we are. Alive again. It's gonna be kind of weird one day when I'm not, when we all get our turn, right, and go on to the next chapter. It's gonna be an exciting time, actually. Without a doubt. Sad for the ones who stay behind and miss the people gone, but it's gonna be a little bit of an exciting ride. Be kind of odd. Odd day if this channel outlasts me. You wake up, oh shit, he didn't wake up alive today. He's finally did it, he's out of here. Holy shit, that's hot coffee. It's so chilly this morning. Now, quick note, so our friend Darren, who was in the woods, not far from the house here, I think we shared most everything he discovered. But he's definitely not a researcher. I think he's just looking for his own knowledge and his ride of life. And I don't think he has too much interest in seeking out contact again, that's for sure. I don't think it didn't freak him out. But anyways, I'm just saying he's not a researcher. He's not trying to up the game in any way. It's just that one of his favorite places that he likes to go tramp around the woods and fish, etc. Odd things started to happen and it had his curiosity, and then he got somewhat sort of scared out of there, and then decided to go back after talking to his native friend who has seen these beings around that area numerous times in the past physically. Anyway, what I'm getting at is a little bit of an update. He texted me yesterday or something, or the day before. He said that when he was camped out in the night, that when they came to his camp, sorry, my brain just went blank. He could hear them knocking, almost like in a Morse code in a way, 2 or 3 of them. Then he heard a bit of a low rumbling voice. And each time he went for his camcorder, he said it went flatline. They put the camcorder down, they flash up again. But they allowed him to pick up his cell phone. What's up with that? Anyway, and he caught the tail end of them knocking and pinging on the tree. So I'll share that now. But anyway, at this stage of the game, for the majority of the people seeking answers, it is what it is. It's so common, it's ridiculous, right? And then we just kind of keep moving forward. But anyway, so then yesterday, Darren got a hold of me. He was emptying his backpack. This is going to sounds a little familiar to me. He's emptying his backpack, his small backpack that he took with him. And if he doesn't find a freaking black bear claw they put in his backpack, which is hanging on the tree beside him that night while he was camping. Nothing. It didn't even fizzle me the slightest when he sent that to me. I'm just like, go figure. Surprised? Not the slightest. And then take note that they did mention to him that they, quote, left those bones there for him, because he said to him, hey, I didn't take your bones. They said, hey, we left them there for you. I would bet the farm those bones are black bear bones. I'd put money on it. Anyway, there you go. How's that for an interesting little tidbit? I think if it wasn't for the fact of myself having a couple of absolute bizarre things happen to me, I probably would have been really taken back by the bear claw, but not me now, personally. Since they put that knife that I lost, what was it? 7 months previous or something? And about 7 or 8 or 9 miles away, I lost that knife in snow, and then they returned it and put it in my backpack. While my backpack was in my possession, that sucker was put into my backpack. What? And then, of course, my arrow. And they returned the arrow and they had it sticking in snow. Perfectly 90. Perfect 90. No lean at all. I mean, perfect 90 in about 5 feet of snow. And that arrow was only about 3 or 4 inches into the snow and not a track on the snow anywhere. Ahead of me on an old deactivated road when I was in trapping wolves. There you go. So it was for those 2 incidents for me. Darren's bear claw find in his backpack would have made me go, oh my God. I'm rambling, bambling. There you go. As we climb forward, seeking answers, right? I don't think we need much more evidence that this is all true. We don't need this in our faces for a long time. Moving forward, getting questions answered. Now, before I get ripping on hearing some voices, I got a funny one. Bit of a funny one. Thought this morning, Rich Jamo and I were messaging back and forth just this morning a couple times. We usually seems like we're texting each other daily, but unrelated, he was talking about how a lot of us, the population, are not listening to the dirtbags who have been lying to us and controlling us for years, right? And as soon as you do not care what they say, they start to lose their narrative. And he was saying this morning how they eventually have to start slipping up and letting out truths because they don't have our attention anymore. And my brain went instant to an exact example of that BS, BF, BSO, I will not say it smoothly, group of the past, right? Perfect example. As long as they had all you chasing your tails, following their intended narrative. And now since we all came together and gave the power to the people and gave the voice to every single person who comes forward accurately, word for word. Oh, like Rich was saying the other day, oh, well, now they just started sharing a bunch of emails they had and experiences they had with orbs, etc., etc. Right? And anyways, that's where my brain, I instantly thought of that when Rich was mentioning how the deep state, dark sons of bitches are losing control of the people because we are all becoming more and more aware daily of their absolute lies. So they are slowly starting to have to feed us truth. And my brain went instantly to that bullshit group and how they kept you guys, not me, but a majority of the people chasing their tails and now kicking the curb. Oh, and now all of a sudden they're starting to release more truthful experiences delivered to them. Great example, Rich. Now, great note to me to make my brain trigger and see where that is also happening. Now, rambling. Where do we go? I got a lot on the go here. Now, somebody messaged me and said that I did not finish that email of 2 days ago when little Chippy was here. Being a little attention grabber. The Nebraska email. Thank God. Thank you for the people that notified me of that. I didn't finish it. So here we go. I went back and I grabbed it. And it was marked as red. Obviously, I would have lost that forever. So thanks for that. And here we go. Excuse me. Nebraska encounters. Shalom to you, Steve, and to all. I've shared before about my predator incident in Burlington, Kansas. Clifford Stevens is my name, and you have complete permission to share my name in all locations. I went to work on a farm for an amazing couple of ladies in Pleasant Dale, Nebraska, just about 5 minutes west of Lincoln, Nebraska. They had about 40 acres, but only about 4 acres were mowed around the property, and a very beautiful path mowed around the pond that was about 40 yards from the main house and the camper. This sounds a little familiar, unless it's a common thing to have the mowed trail around, but I think we've had something like that described in the past. The first day I got there, I told them a lot about myself, and I went to go pee by the tree just south of the pond, and I heard a huge grunt. I thought a horse or cattle. But after telling the miss that hired me about what I heard, she told me that no one has horses or cattle in that area. She told me it was probably Sasquatch telling me they don't like men peeing on trees. It happened to the other men on the property too. So I was there during the 4th of July, and it was also a birthday party for the grandfather of the family. As the relatives showed up, I meet them all. My miss that hired me's sister showed up early, and we all were chatting. Then I looked down the path, cut down the south of the pond, and through a perfect tunnel of shrubbery, and I seen a side shot of a grey, huge shoulder, head, and lower abdominal area of what could only be a Sasquatch. I stopped talking mid-sentence, and both ladies seemed seen the surprise in my eyes, and I straight told them what I seen. We all walked that area, and nothing but a very strange feeling from us all. Just a buzz in the air. A few days later, I was in the camper with my lady friend, and we were trying to sleep, but the door was opened and slammed. The windows to our camper slapped repeatedly, and could definitely hear huge footsteps running around the camper and the area. Thought it was just a storm at first, but when we woke in the AM, nothing was moved out of its place. So if it was wind and storm, then all our lawn furniture and trash cans would have been blown down, but no. We even questioned the other farmhand, but he said he drank a fifth of vodka and passed out, per his usual. Poor soul. We also had drones over the property at night and would occasionally hear whoops from the woods around the property while we cut grass and worked the land. Hold on a minute. We also had drones over the property at night. Whose were those? And would occasionally hear whoops from the woods around the property while we cut grass and worked the land. That's a random odd sentence thrown in there. We also had drones over the property at night. Hastings, Nebraska has a Sasquatch museum, and a very sweet woman runs it out of her house. She recently closed everything due to older age, but I went there with my 3 daughters about 3 years ago, and she couldn't believe I already knew about everything she had on display as from the PG film. And as far as Sasquatch befriending horses and braiding the horse's hair, as indigenous people did to create a bond with the horse. She took my family and I back and showed us a footprint of 36 inches. Recently cast near Hastings, Nebraska. I've had encounters here in York, Nebraska also. I was homeless for over a year and had experiences out at Recharge Lake. I still have much to share about dogman, UFOs, and eyewitness accounts of covert government actions in Kansas. I'd like to share, but it's better to do verbally, if possible. Shalom, brother, and keep moving forward. Excuse me, interesting. It's a tough thing for me to do, the verbal thing, having people on here. Obviously, I've had a few, and it's tough. I think from now on, possibly need everybody who comes on here via the Zoom thing. I think we need to have both ends hardwired to the internet, as in the cable connected to your source, not the Wi-Fi. Do I think? I think that should help. It's smoother. But anyway, there's no phone number there or anything, but send me, oh man, I don't know. I'm getting so busy. It's so hard. I have a handful of people I'm trying to get on here. It's not easy. Believe me, it's kind of funny. It's not like just calling up your buddy and saying, hey, you want to get on the phone in half an hour? Okay. It's just hit and miss, email tag and text tag until finally you line up the right time and you get on here together. But anyways, if you could, email me back again so I don't forget, because I'm in the middle of this, obviously. And give me a little tidbit of what you got about the covert shit, all right? See if you can trigger my gut into telling me I need to talk to you live. And that's not being rude. That's how I roll. So, send me something else and see if you can trigger my gut into telling me I need to talk to you in person. Sorry, but that's my manager. That's my manager is my gut. Now, here's another one from our friend Robert Duvall, who has spent some intense time, donated a shitload of his life to looking into this topic and more. And he dove about as deep as you can dive. All right? And he has another one here for us today. Now listen. Is there a title on this? Cultural Histories. His title of his email. I state first off, I am not a detail-oriented historian, but rather one who tries to use history to find answers. That's obviously a good move because, and we've seen it numerous times in our generations, of warring factions in a way, erasing the history of other countries they go and hammer on and dominate and blow the shit out of. We saw it in Iraq and other Middle Eastern countries of the history, people trying to absolutely eliminate their ancient histories. You can see history being erased in the U.S. in front of our eyes this past few years too. But anyway, sorry for the interruption, I'm babbling. History is a good solid one to go after if you can still find it, the true history. The ones I go to are either the keepers of oral histories or other qualified interpreters. When applying the various written histories, again I go to those who are qualified to see if my direction is in the ballpark. This has the added bonus of educating those individuals I seek about the state of the hybrids today. The oral and written histories, cultural histories, have so much overlap. Those overlaps are what I tend to focus on because we are talking about each culture having their own version of the same event. This is why I call them cultural histories, even though the event described is essentially the same. Their cultural hero is involved, and all versions are then just slightly different from each other, but describing the same real historical event. That is the overlap. No one's culture's history stands out as the one to go to, whether oral or written. Some histories, like Babylon, are distortions of earlier Mesopotamian history to make the current ones in power part of that critical history when they never were. For instance, no nation's history should take precedence over all others unless all others were based on it. Having said that, it seems that the native people of North America have a stake in the world history and that their messages, though different from the histories of other cultures of the world, should be heeded and treated as important as the many others. Their history is not as well known as they keep it close. Still, there may be warnings which have significance to world events today. As their version of upcoming events develops, not many are aware, just like many weren't aware when the C-19 jabs came out. It is probable that the incredible numbers of hybrids seen today were mostly made elsewhere and brought here. Of course, we also have those whose lineage have been here since the beginning of the hybrid effort. Although not all of the older ones are good, they are with the earth, whereas others are not at all. That could possibly make a lot of sense, don't you think? As you know, my earlier research involved why UFO were here and what they are doing here. Within that, I studied many different aspects of their duties and actions, from abductions to actions against our nuclear weapons efforts and everything in between. Behind all these accounts, no matter which aspect was being studied, was a history, both on the UFO event side and on those being afflicted by the UFO. The accounts themselves tell us much, especially collectively. But you can go deeper and get into the history of the person, the UFO event, the various civilian or military endeavors and institutions or branches and government entities or efforts like the Manhattan Project, and gain incredible insights again by doing that with as much activity as you can study to see the pattern behaviors emerge. patterned behaviors emerge. Man, there's so much dust in here. It's non-stop in these down jackets I wear. It's like, it seems to just like stick to my nose, and I'm wiping my nose all the time. Sorry for that little outburst. Patterned behaviors emerge. Patterns. Patterns is what we have for every topic on the planet that we should be taking note of. The person being abducted, the particular type of military efforts or actions, government actions, intergovernment actions, and results between two countries in secrecy or openly, all have their place in understanding what the UFO are doing, responding to, sending message about that is somewhat repetitious or blatantly repetitious. Use source material. Use military histories, event records, general nuclear weapons histories, well-sourced, or government reports and studies, and the databases and living military sources associated with these events. It wears me out thinking about everything I did, no doubt. Within all of that intense military event studies, I kept coming across Sasquatch seen leaving the landed or hovering craft, or stepping into fields through rectangular lighted features that could be called portals, but that remains with me unverified. And this has been going on for many decades. The native people are saying that these are not the original Sabe or Sasquatch, but are made by the Sky people. Understand, Sky people also fall into good and nefarious groups. It is not the good ones doing this, but the same or similar related ones who abduct humans. In all of it, at the center are genetic creations - hybrids. When humans are abducted, it usually follows certain bloodlines or genetic lines through generations. We have human, alien, or Sky people hybrids, and we have similar genetic creations to the Sasquatch or Sabe that have been here since the first hybrid creations. Currently, records indicate that the Sabe date back to around 20,000 years ago, give or take thousands of years. And as of now, they do not predate us, as we are over 200,000 years as a species on Earth. Many call them the original people. The jury is out on that one for sure. Until something comes along through genetic tests or otherwise that is verifiable, this date information is what we have. There may be more to this, much more, but right now, this is where it stands. It therefore becomes difficult to unravel or study with verification the history of the North American native peoples. Still, we should pursue it and understand their position and concerns, especially the way the world is currently and what could be in store for us coming up. Just because we don't know it doesn't mean we can't. I get the impression there are warnings and information that could benefit those of us who are not native. And that the Sasquatch or Sabe or whatever people could well have a part in helping us. Who am I to discount that outright? I'm just an old fart stumbling around in the woods and generally getting myself into trouble. This is an important message. I appreciate you reading this to your audience, Rob Duvall. Sort of related, but not for your audience. Okay, gotcha, man. I appreciate you and your time, generously sharing it with us. I don't know. I think you said you put it into book form. Everything you've learned. I think you should probably slime all that in a book, man, and get it out there. Time of life is precious, man, and you donated so much of your time of life to this, and kept records. And me, teach your own, but you should do just do it. Put it all in a book. Get it to me, and I'll get it out to the people, or share the link, whatever. But you should probably put everything you learned in a book. I would, if I were you. But there you go. There's a lot to chew on, you guys, right? The native people, the indigenous people, I like to consider myself an indigenous or native person to the planet. You know? We are all here together. We're all equal. And we are all indigenous to the planet, you know? Sorry. Moving along. Take from what you will or leave it, but that man has done some serious digging. Serious digging. And has nothing to benefit by sharing personally or financially. Nothing. He cares. He's looking. He knows we're being lied to across the board. And he's known for a long time. And he's dug and he's shared. It's very generous. Now, here's another one. This is titled, Need Input and Advice. I won't take my family to the forest anymore. My wife and I have been going to the woods for many years, but lately it's been getting a little strange. We found a place where it's really nice. I can park my trailer, and it's perfect. The problem is, the Sasquatches have been scaring the shit out of me because they are getting too friendly. They haven't hurt us. They don't seem aggressive. I've never experienced them on this level before. I know you're going to think I'm a frickin' nut job, but it almost seems like they want us to be pals. They do crazy stuff like sit outside of our trailer talking their gibberish language quietly from the bushes, almost whispering, but plenty loud enough for the whole family to hear, including the dog. It freaks us out. Almost sounds like they are plotting on us. They have knocked on the walls at night sometimes, even tried to open my trailer door once, and the deadbolt was locked. I've had pebbles tossed at me from the berry bushes a couple of times. One day I was showing my teen daughters how you can take lumps of pitch off the Douglas fir and use it to start the fire. That's the last thing I remember. Then I opened my eyes, and my wife was taking our picture. I felt like I had been in a blackout. Didn't remember anything from the past few minutes. Weird. The time they tapped on our walls and tried the door, we had to pull into the camp spot. I got out of my truck with a big apple, held it up and said loudly, "Hey, Bigfoot saw before us people, I know you're out there. And I brought you an apple." Then I held it up and I whistled. Then someone whistled back from across the creek from the berries. So I kept whistling, changing it every time, and it kept copying me. This went on for about 2 minutes. I have photos of them that day from the pitch. Thinking of it from the patch, when I felt blacked out. There were at least two, about 10 feet behind me, and the girls just looking at us from the creek. I have photos of a different day when we were going to ride our quads, and there's several behind us, about 40 feet away, watching one. He's just standing there by the tree in plain sight, not even trying to hide. Then right behind the tree is a huge one, poking his head around the tree looking at us. Another day we were all shooting. In that photo, you can see a big black figure in the bushes across the creek watching us. We get wood knocks, trees crashing. Some of them seem to be wearing animal hides with the heads on top of their head. Daniel Boone. I've had the forest torn apart around me at night on other camping trips and other places. I've had tree knocks and bird whistling on both sides of me. One day, also a different place, I had the forest tore apart one night when I was parked with a girlfriend. Then something big and obviously bipedal followed us down the mountain for about 2 miles while we drove. Went home fast that night. At a different place, I've seen white glowing orbs. At Laird Lake. You get the point. I won't bore you with all the other times, like the night in the hammock. So why are being so intent on hanging out with me? Why do this latest tribe of them keep acting so friendly? My wife says she thinks because I've left apples and stuff. The last 7 or 8 years, these ones have gotten too close for comfort. I love the camping spot, but I don't feel safe taking my family there. And yes, one more thing. And this is going to sound totally effing insane, but the last few years I haven't been going there. They somehow pop into my thoughts wanting me to come and feed them. How the hell could that be? Are they really telepathic? And no, brother, I'm just as sane as the next guy, but this shit has gotten weird. Advise, please. I really enjoy your show, by the way. Andy, sorry about the image quality. No problem. Yeah, that's different. Okay, hold on a minute. What am I going to do with this? I got some other things I got to remember, but that's the image. The image. So obviously you zoomed in on that. You know what I'm going to say about it. There's no mystery there. I don't even know what the hell I'm looking at myself because I wasn't there and I didn't see the original photo. Right? Well, obviously it's something, but it'd be good to have the original photo so we could see the rest of the surrounding area. Not that it really, really matters that much, though, right at this stage of the game. So, why you? Don't know. Why me? I haven't a clue. I think if you listen to enough of the people here bringing these beings or anything food, that makes you a food source. Right? That makes you a food source. And that usually doesn't turn out very well for anybody with anything. Unless you're raising them. Raising whatever you're feeding. You think you're nervous, or you said you're nervous and doesn't feel right, and it's ramping up. You got to go with your gut, man. Your gut knows more than anybody here. Anybody here, me, or around you. Your gut knows. If your gut's telling you this isn't cool, it's not cool. If your gut's telling you that it's starting to freak you out and you're not feeling too good about going there, don't go there. Follow your gut. If you don't follow your gut, you're going to lose, no matter what the decision is in life. If you don't get in tune with yourself, you're going to lose. So, telepathy, 110%. 110%. They know how to do that deliberately and whenever they want. Proven. Well, I shouldn't say proven to me. It's been proven to me, all right? I accept that as absolute fact. If I had to throw down a bet, I'd bet the entire farm that is true, the telepathy, without a doubt. For me, take from it what you will or leave it, right? How hard was that? Take from it what you will or leave it. So easy. I don't know, it all depends. I don't know what you want out of this ride that you're having with this particular group of beings. I don't know, but if you wanted to stop, I do recall Scott Carpenter had advice for a lot of people over the years. He helped them deal with the same scenarios going on at their homes, their ranches and shit. And a lot of people had a lot of success in toning it down. So, yeah. Am I an expert on toning it down? Nope. I'm pretty good at keeping it to a low roar for me, right? For the most part, it's just I think it's more of a thing of respect, right? Ask for their respect, and I think you receive only if you respect first. So far, depends on who you're dealing with as well, though, right? And like Rob said earlier, the hybrid project, the hybrids, whatever they are, I do believe that is fact. I do believe, like, especially here where I live, I have a feeling the beings, the people who live around here where I am, I believe they have been here a long time, pleasantly coexisting with the indigenous people and the other indigenous people who are us. They came later. They've been coexisting here quite nicely alongside of us. And I know it's been a long time in my time. From that time, I was at that one lake, just that way, flown in a float plane before there were any roads anywhere near there. And I was such a young age, and I still remember it like it. I can see each individual rock I was standing on in that gravelly bank. And I was the only one that was really hardcore fishing. My dad wasn't into hunting and fishing. And it was me, my dad, this other man, his friend, and his other man's son, who was like 2 years older than me. They were just sitting in the cabin. Huge cedar trees around the cabin. Drizzling rain. And I wanted to go fish. And they had like a couple of logs there and a little couple of planks for a makeshift dog. Enough for me to stand on. And I remember there was a trout that big right underneath the log. I remember everything. And I was absolutely shitting myself. and only had to go probably 40 feet from the cabin door to the edge of that lake. And I vividly remember shitting myself, like, going like this. Something, now that I recall that now, 100% I was being watched. And after that is when my dad and his friend took my mom and the man's wife, and they flew up there and left my mom and the other lady in the cabin. And my dad and the other fella took the small aluminum boat they had flown in there with the float plane, and they were traveling down the lake, which would have been southeast. And all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. Massive, huge, heavy footprints of what my mom said. It was huge. Like, she was all eyeballs when she was telling us. I'll never forget it. Went between the back of the cabin and the mountain behind the cabin, going in the direction that my dad and the man were going in a aluminum boat. Obviously keep an eye on them. What I'm saying is, that is evidence for me to let me know that in my time, which is a long time, which obviously might be not a long time in the lives of these people, they've been right there. And that's more than likely the same group that Darren ran into. Absolutely more than likely the same group that the ladies have grown up with, without a doubt. And they're right there. What is I getting at? Sorry for the ramble. I'm getting at is they've been peacefully coexisting alongside us here in the island. Now, do I believe those might be the so-called original bloodline? My gut's saying it is. How would I know? I don't know. I wouldn't. How would I know? I don't have a clue. My gut's saying those are possibly the original beings that Rob Duvall's talking about. Do I believe there are other later hybrid beings that have come into our world? Yes, I do. I do believe that. I do believe that. And I do believe there are variations of walking around somewhere. Walking around, what they're doing here, what's their intention, I don't know. Do I want to know? Yeah and no. Let me get reading before I start battling my face off and driving everybody insane. Trust me, I drive myself insane quite often. Now, excuse me. What's this one? I don't know what this is about. It's a short email, but I saved it from yesterday. Excuse me. Why? The answer is, that's the title of the email. Recently, I sent an email, ESP, which was shared, and mind control. This was sent to make us think about certain events going on now. The reason why the, quote, tests, end quote, were performed by Army CID was supposed to be to determine who should be held accountable. I believe the real reason was to see if people could be convinced to do despicable things at their bidding. The answer was yes. I believe those in control will only tolerate the sheeple. Any entity that has more power is a direct threat to the agenda. Surely you understand what I mean, especially since your jail time. I have much more to share soon. Dave Abbott. Share is okay. All right, man. Send away. Send more. Yeah, there's some despicable people doing things at their bidding. Every single person that administered that thing. There you go. That's what first pops into my head. All right, moving along. Looking forward to your next email, man. Fill me in. All right. This is titled, Some Thoughts. Steve, long time listener. Good God, have we been here that long? I finally decided to email you with a couple of things. Firstly, in regards to our place and our hairy friend's place on Earth. There is a famous remote viewer by the name of Joe McMoneagle. 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 One word though. He's a vet. and used by over 17 intelligence agencies to find and locate people in real time. But one viewing, he implies that we humans are actually an offshoot of people from Mars millions of years ago. And the beings we see in these Tic Tac UFOs are actually the original inhabitants of the Earth. What if Bigfoot is one of these original inhabitants, and we have knowledge what if Bigfoot is one of these original inhabitants and have knowledge so much more advanced than ours? Without a doubt they do. Secondly, I believe these beings fit into a bigger puzzle, and if we're publicly acknowledged by academia, would lead humankind to true enlightenment. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. When 1% of atoms or ice crystal become aligned, it triggers the other 99%, which is untouched, to become aligned. When man taught a group of monkeys to eat potatoes, one monkey figured out to wash it first, which he taught his kids and family, which then was noticed / taught by other monkeys, and then more. Then once a large enough number of monkeys began washing their food first, like a switch, monkeys of that species all over the world, and all of a sudden had this knowledge. That's what the elite are afraid of. Us becoming aware of everything, and knowledge of what Bigfoot truly is would assist in that. One last thing. In the 90s, we had a house down Cape Cod. It's fairly populated, but still has big swaths of untouched land. We happen to live on an inlet from the ocean in the middle of untouched government land. One evening, my brother and I heard the loudest, most ungodly scream I've ever heard from the woods. We didn't see anything, but decided to go inside. The next day, large areas of where I picked mussels were picked clean, and I always imagined it was what we heard, showing us how close to us they came. Anyways, thanks for all the information and entertainment over the years. Signed, John G. There you go. Yeah. It's pretty confusing busting out of our shell, isn't it? It is for me. Well, not. It has been. It is for a lot of people catching up that might not quite realize the extent of how we've been duped. There's one, yeah, man, I don't know where do I shut my mouth or do I talk, you know what I mean? But the duping part in using us, the majority of us have been used so fiercely. It's just, the more and more you become aware, it is just such a violation and theft of quality of life and the experience of being a human being. It makes me sick. It makes me I'll admit it, I have violent thoughts. Can't help it. It's in my DNA. I have violent thoughts about evening the score or dealing. That's just how I am. I can't help it. Not like psychopathic shit, but there's nothing in my gut that says, well, we got to go get a judge in the courtroom and get these bastards. No, I'd feel a lot better if we just hung them in the street and torched their asses, actually. But anyway, it's such a bizarre shit show. It's just such a bizarre shit show that has been going on for generations with us when it comes to us. I keep going. Obviously I'm struggling trying to keep my mouth shut because if I start on this topic, I've got a lot I could say and I could go on forever. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre, isn't it? Anyway, I won't. Not today, I won't. We need to hear from people. We hear enough from me, right? Who else do we got? Loud booms chime in. All right, here we go. Cooj, I think you're here to listen to this. Here we go. We had a request yesterday or the day before about the loud booms. Somebody chime in. What's going on? I wonder too. Sorry, I was thinking some of the loud booms described from other people. I wonder if that is what I was hearing when I was in camp last year by myself. Because it wasn't a howl, it wasn't a scream. It's just some kind of frickin' weird noise, and it was frickin' loud coming out of that timber down and behind me. And I can't really describe it. My initial thought was it's got to be heavy equipment. dump truck, some kind of a huge truck or B train. I don't know, but there's nothing back there but mature timber which had never been logged before. Sorry, but that's what came to my head. I wonder if that was what I was hearing. Now, but my gut said leave. My gut doesn't say leave that often. And I followed my gut and I left. Loud booms chime in. Morning, Steve. Mark Angers from New Brunswick here. And boys, oh boys, we can surely tell you are definitely pissing in the cornflakes of all those who do not want the truth to be told with how YouTube has been acting lately, lol. Usually the sign. This happens to all the channels and people who are on the right path on everything. Now for the meat and potatoes of the email and why I'm emailing. I know it kind of makes me giggle. It makes me giggle when I blatantly see that I'm pissing off the dark sons of bitches in various places. I love it. Absolutely love it. Mainly responding to Cujo's email from this morning, May 29th, in case this gets a little buried among the email chaos. Right on. Appreciate that. That little note of putting your date in here. I've heard these booms as well. What sounds like a plane, but no plane. My circle of truth seekers and I have a few theories as to what they are. The four are on our own rides and always like to shoot different. I think you meant the four of us are on our own rides and always like to shoot different ideas as to what things may be. It doesn't matter the subject, matter too. From Sabe to the current ET disclosure, what happened during the scamdemic. We've heard these noises quite a few times along with this one. This sounds like metal grinding or a massive train that's in motion, but as if it's stationary. And it's the tracks that are what's moving under the train. If that can sort of put a picture to the noise. It's the same thing for the plane sound, but there's no plane. I'm not saying that it sounds exactly like a jet engine, but it's the only way I can describe it. And it makes sense in my brain, so I'm going with it, lol. My buddy Danny is a full-on sleuth. He searches, and a lot of times he finds these Reddit posts that pertain to shit we're usually talking about and accounts of what other people around North America are hearing and how they're describing it. But the grinding metal sound, this sort of sounds like a train in a standstill, and the random booms seem to be the ones heard more often than the other sounds. There's been a few posted on the tubes in the early 2020s, and as Cujo said, interest seems to have dwindled on the subject, and he's still hearing the sounds. Now there is this theory going around on the, let's call it the truth or grapevine, that is some sort of electromagnetism along the earth possibly shifting, as the signs of the long overdue pole shift that's supposed to happen every few thousand years. Now what causes it? I have no idea. Some people say it's our core that does it because it switches directions on cycles. Or we have a brown dwarf star which shares orbit with our central star, and yes, we may possibly be in a binary solar system. Now, why can't we see the dwarf companion star? I know the ones who need proof handed to them are going to be asking, why can't we see this dwarf star? Well, brown dwarfs only emit infrared light, so we need special equipment to be able to see it. And it's supposedly behind the sun and below the plane of ecliptic. So even if it were a regular sun, our sun would still be blocking it from sight right now. And this is what causes the pole shift over 3,500 to 4,000 years. I think he meant, because of its orbit. Nibiru is an entire solar system and not just a planet that has a massive elliptical orbit around our sun. This is where I believe Venus and our moon came from, because they were left here, being caught by our primary star's pull. Might also be the reason the asteroid field that may have been a planet at one time is there. Why Mars no longer has an atmosphere, and why our seems to be pulling away from the Earth little by little. Could we be hearing gravity tugging on, and this is the Earth producing these noises? Or is this something else more sinister? And it's caused by the deep state engineers? And they want to cause the pole shift? Or they could also believe they could stop it from happening, considering human egos are hubris sometimes. I wouldn't put it past these arrogant Fs because they want to play God with everything else, right? But you can for sure tell something big is on the horizon for our species. I know you can feel it, and I know most of the good people in the CONR are also feeling this. Now, will that be the pole shift? Faked alien invasion, like what I believe may have been test runs in Peru and in Florida. Bracket, if you haven't heard about this yet, I'll send you another email about it right after I'm done with this one, and checking it for mistakes and whatnot. Or other scamdemic like the last 4 years of idiocracy we had. Or an effing AI takeover, whatever it is, as the Sabe were also calling it. The time of the great knowing. If I end up in a conversation with one of these beings, I'd be drilling them with questions about this. And if they were around or their ancestors were around the last time it happened. And what the planet was like before the Great Flood. There you go. Well, you blew up my brain. You went all over the map with that one, man. Right? Who knows? I don't know. You guys must have some interesting conversations around the fire. Yeah. What those people in control have been doing to us for so long. How about this one? You know, it's really hilarious. Side note, off topic a little bit. It's so absolutely hilarious that the criminal who's in the position of being called a leader in Canada sits in front of a camera and explains to the people that, well, he needs more of your money so he can change the temperature on the planet. How can you even keep How can you even keep a straight look on your face? And repeat that. Think about it. But how many people gaze at the screen like a sheep or whatever with a dazed look on their face? Well, honey, we gotta give the government more money. They're gonna cool off the planet for us. Meanwhile, this guy's so stupid. He probably doesn't even know how to put butter on toast himself. That's how dumb that criminal is. And that little prick weasel piece of shit actually has it in him to publicly state that they need more money from us so they can change the climate on the planet. Oh my God. Now listen to me. I don't give a shit who you are, what country, what world you are in. As soon as you have any human being stand in front of a camera and preach that, and they previously to saying that publicly, they've been allowed to be put in the position of leader, that's when the big hook comes out from the curtains and grabs around the neck and yanks him off the stage and puts him away forever. Think about it. Oh my God. Wait, maybe I should jump in that bandwagon. Hey everybody, if you guys all send me $10 each today, I'm going to put it towards cooling off the planet. Right? Think about it. Me saying that would make you guys want to stone me to death in the middle of the street. Right? Common sense. But meanwhile, these absolute morons in the Western world around the globe are actually telling the people, that's where they have the majority of the people today, though. That is the position they have managed to get. The majority of present-day generations, they've actually got them to the place where they can actually say that with confidence to a screen, and they're not going to get any pushback, and they're going to get the money. Hell, they didn't even have to show us a chart of dollars compared to temperature dropping and fluctuating. The more money, the cooler the planet's going to get. Holy shit. Oh my God. Oh, please, 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 God. Please allow me to be alive to see when the people all smarten up across the board and make these MFers pay. Right? Holy shit. Oh, okay, I gotta bite my lip because I could go down that road and give everybody some blatant common sense examples, what's going on today, which the majority of the population is following. It's amazing. Well, you know, we're gonna charge them more money. I'm done reading emails in case I annoy the shit out of you. We're gonna charge the people more money to be alive because we're concerned about the temperature of the planet. But actually, what really happens when you charge them more money is they got to work more, and then we use up more resources, and then everybody's got to drive to work more. Everybody's got to make more money, and everything's more expensive. So we really got to get them working. We have people working to the point now that it's just common move is to plan on having daycare for your child, because not one parent can be in the house now with the child growing up. And we're going to use up way more resources, way faster, and get everybody working even more to pay for this climate. Oh, please, everybody band together, stop the wars, take the power from the pricks and hang them from a branch. Just a bunch of good horsemen, a few pistols, some rope, and some trees out in the back 40, and just take care of it. And then what? Then what do? We quit acting like idiots. We quit acting like idiots. We quit thinking that we're supposed to be here working 7 days a week till we're 65. Holy shit. And we start making life a great, big, happy party for everybody across the board. Right? We spend the majority of screen time around the world is encouraging people to find out what they love doing and to do it. Right? That's what we do with mainstream cameras, influencers, so-called governments. We're supposed to be encouraging everyone to have a happy, healthy existence, and we should be trying to make everybody exist as happy as we can. Right? That's what we're supposed to be doing. And somehow we got way off track. And some dark sons of bitches managed to get in the position they're in, and they managed to make everybody as smart as a pickle. So shitty to watch. Anyway, I think we're winning those long as people keep talking out loud, right? Slowly, gently, baby steps, show people how you've been duped, and help them get through that confusing time where they just want to lash out and get angry at the messengers. But anyway, speaking of messaging, I got to get out of here. And it's funny, a while back, I was trying to create a Club of No Return patch, which would be cool to see around the globe and people recognizing it without anybody really knowing what the club is about, right? Except for us. And I made a bunch of versions. Then I had a friend of mine who I hired to make my hunting logos to put them into vectors or whatever. And Sarah picked out her favorite, and she just got them for a little store. And which one? It'll be interesting to see, interesting to see who likes which one better. So I created them, but we had different versions, and she picked this as her favorite, and I picked this. And I have a feeling she might have been right. Whatever, she's got a bunch of both. And these are high quality, it's funny, in the States, my friends call them decals. And here I call them decals. Right? But anyways, there you go. They're in her store. Bam! And this originally was a friend of mine on the mountain, and I videotaped him. And he put his arms up. And I grabbed it. It was a real cool scene in the mountains. And she also has these. And I guess this one, what do? You peel the sticker off and you put it on glass and you press it down and then you take the top off, and the only thing that's left is the white part. And then, what else? Black as well. She got white and black ones. So there you go. She passed those off to me this morning to be the messenger for you. She's got them in her store. The link is on the bottom. If I remember to put there. I usually do, I think. And that's all she wrote. Share my story at howtohunt.com. I apologize for any of my ramblings today. I probably went on a little bit much, but whatever. I will be back on track tomorrow, and I will be sharing many voices and much knowledge and continue driving forward to get the big answers answered. All right? Bravo to everyone. Probably should say these things. I feel it all the time, but I thank everyone for coming here and supporting each other, right? And for banding together, combining your energy, and kicking the previous narrative-controlling, lying pricks to the curb. You did such a superb job of that. I love that. Very, very proud of that. Myself, very proud. That was my motivation when I first spoke publicly on this, because I was tired of the shit show. I knew they were lying sons of bitches for a long time. And you guys did it. I love it. All right, the big boss is texting me. I gotta go. I'll be back tomorrow.